You didn't agree to become someone else. You agreed to survive. They didn't tell you the cost up front. They waited until there was no way back. And by the time you understood what was happening to you, it was already irreversible. And that's not a deal. That's a trap you only see after it closes. So there's this piece of technology in Night City that doesn't let consequences in. The Relic is not a metaphor. It's a product. It's a piece of technology designed to store a person's consciousness, their memories, their personality, their voice. So they don't end when their body does. You don't remember them, you don't archive them, and you don't move on. Instead, the damage doesn't conclude. They can be activated, accessed, they can even be consulted. And in some cases, they can overwrite another body. And that's the point of the Relic. It doesn't save a life, it extends influence. And only people with power, money, or corporate backing ever even touch it. Everybody else just dies normally. And see, that difference matters. And here's what the Relic really does. It doesn't eliminate death. It interrupts consequences. Because death is where accountability usually ends. Reputations stop evolving. Mistakes settle. And stories close. But the Relic keeps the story open. 'Cause see, a leader who would have faced disgrace can now outlast it. A criminal who would have died can now persist past a sentence. Or a corporation can preserve decision makers long enough for public memory to fade. Nothing resolves. It just waits. And when you can wait out consequences, something shifts. You don't need forgiveness. You don't need redemption. And you don't need justification. You just need time. And time is the one thing that the Relic sells. You don't need a relic to recognize this pattern. You've seen it already. People who never faced the fallout of what they did. People whose mistakes never cost them anything. Systems that absorb harm without ever answering for it. The mistake doesn't disappear. It just gets stored, filed, delayed, and rebranded. And eventually everyone is told, man, that's old news. That's in the past. That's already been handled. But see, nothing was handled. It was just postponed. The Relic just makes that dynamic permanent. If you can outlast outrage, outweigh punishment, if you can survive long enough for attention to move on, then restraint becomes optional. Not because you're evil, but because consequences stop being urgent. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Most people don't do the right thing because it's right. They do it because there's a cost if they don't. Their reputation, freedom, belonging, even employment. Now imagine those costs disappearing. Imagine knowing you'll still be here after the apology cycle, after the investigation, after everyone else is tired of talking about it. No, you don't need courage, and you don't need integrity. You just need endurance. And that's what the Relic buys. And that's why this is dangerous. Because once survival becomes purchasable, morality becomes a choice, not a requirement. The Shard never asks whether the Relic is good or evil. It shows you something colder. A world where mistakes don't end, they linger. Where legacies don't conclude, they persist. Where harm doesn't resolve, it waits quietly for attention to die. And in that world, the question isn't, would you do the wrong thing? It's, would you do it if you knew you could outlive it? And that's not a sci-fi question. That's a systems question. That's a power question. That's a human question. The Relic does not save humanity. It just reveals it. It shows what happens when time stops being a limit and becomes a luxury. Because when you can survive long enough, the hardest part of doing the right thing disappears. And what's left is not chaos. It's something quieter. A world where accountability expires before the people responsible ever do. And once that door opens, it never really closes again.